The Commission for Employment Equity has been very aware of all the discussions that are going on social media and in the public space with regards to the Dischem story, and we thought it would be important to just reflect on the dynamics as well as what is happening with regards to the Employment Equity Act progress in our country in terms of the workforce. Well, over the years, you will know that we have continually lamented progress, and we have said that it is very slow, especially at management level. Here we're talking to top management, senior management, middle management, and junior management. The progress has been extremely slow. You will know that we use the EAP, the economically active population, as a benchmark for us to reach. And we look at each occupational level and see the progress in terms of achieving the EAP. Black people have always been lagging behind, specifically Africans and colored are lagging behind in terms of their EAP. And over the years, what we've seen is that there is an increase in favor of African, colored, and Indian of 1 percentage point per annum. Also, based on the historical legacy, we are finding that lower down in the occupational levels, you find that it is majority black, which is based on the history of our country, where jobs were reserved for white people at the top echelons of organizations, and the African people, Indian and colored, were more or less at the bottom, not forgetting women and persons with disability. So the Act seeks to change this, and the Constitution, Section 9 of the Constitution, actually enables for the Act and for the Act to be able to put in place measures for redress. And that's what we really seek to do, and that's what really the big debate is about. As a country, we are moving very slowly, and much has to happen in order for us to get to where we need to go. There are a number of organizations that are doing very well. There's pockets of excellence everywhere, but these are few and far between. And, knowing that right now we are in the reporting season, we're aware that over 3,000 companies have already submitted their reports, which is encouraging. It demonstrates that people are eager to comply, people are willing to act in accordance to the law. However, we must never forget that reporting is just very much an administrative exercise, and much, much more needs to happen in terms of substantive equality. We need to transform not only the occupational levels, but also ensure that the environment is one where there is inclusivity, basically where each person in the organization would be able to say, this feels like home. Now, that is very much a lived experience. It's not something that we can guess. It's something that people feel in the culture of the organization. And organizations that do well are really organizations that embed the issue of employment equity, diversity, inclusivity, and equality as part of their business strategy, where it is driven from the board or from the CEO, and it's cascaded right down to the bottom. Such companies do well because the top is walking the talk, and it is promoting an ethos of inclusivity. Organizations that strive to do this very quickly become an employer of choice because people recognize that the culture embraces the concept of inclusivity. Now, if one is to reflect and look at the Dischem story, the initial memo that came out was a memo that said there will be a moratorium on the appointment of white people at managerial level. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, in our reflection as a commission, we felt was missing was the fact that the CEO tended to speak more to the numbers without reflecting on the substantive equality as something that needs to be embraced within the organization. It was also interesting to note that the achievement of targets were going to be, for the first time, part of the KPIs, whereas organizations that are progressive and that are inclusive have already gone ahead and put that in their strategy, and it does automatically become part of the KPIs. So that, as a matter of fact, was one of the things that was quite concerning, that for the first time they were going to introduce this within the KPI of managers. The CEO was acting in compliance to the Employment Equity Act. Different sections. Section 5 allows him to put in place affirmative action measures where, when he recognizes that the organization at different occupational levels is not representative, he has the duty, and it is his responsibility, to make sure that the demographics of the organizations are really changed. So we recognize that that's what he was seeking to do. And the tone of the letter on its own then invoked a lot of emotion, both from all races, really, because the tone sounded a bit dictatorial, and it also sounded as if he was proposing a tick box exercise. Do this, do that, and you tick this box, then you get your KPI, which is something that we do not, as a commission, promote. We recognize that a lot of companies really do what we often refer to as malicious compliance, where they're just ticking boxes and putting people in and not ensuring that there's reasonable accommodation or that the culture is inclusive for people to stay, and then complain when people leave saying that, but black people don't stay.